These are the most disturbing things ever filmed on a winter camping trip. And as the video goes on, the danger gradually shifts away from other people and toward the environment itself. So let's get right into it. In January 2021, two campers who film as Arnold Outdoors drive east out of Bend, Oregon, to camp in the snow. They have a fire, a truck, and a black pop-up shelter with solid walls. What they don't have is daylight, so they're picking a campsite off headlights and moonlight. The first spot they want is taken. A man is sitting on his own beside a fire pit, so they drive past and pull in somewhere else. While they're unloading, one of them looks back down the slope.
It looks like till tomorrow, so. All right, so we gotta leave. There's creepy-ass people with red headlamps coming towards us out of the woods.
Well, here's what happened.
About 400 yards off.
No, not even. Like 300.
Yeah, 300 yards. And once we parked, back up a little.
That's what I'm doing, man.
They separated from each other.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Yeah. There's two people with red headlamps on it.
Four lights, about 300 yards out. Two white, two red, and both men know what red lamps are for. They preserve your night vision and don't carry far, so hunters use them to pick animals out of the dark.
They separated from each other.
Well, let's start from the beginning. Yeah. There's two people with red headlamps on and two people with bright headlamps on.
Yeah.
And you can see them moving. We can see silhouettes against the moonshine.
Yep.
There's what little bit of lights out here, and you can tell by the way they.
That isn't what bothers them. It's that the four have split apart and are walking toward the truck from different angles. They load up and go.
Can't see very well.
But you can spot critters and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, too creepy for me, man. And they were splitting up and heading down towards us. So no, we're out of here. We'll find somewhere else. So.
Yeah, they were spreading out. And heading towards us.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty freaky. So,
all right.
The replacement spot is further out. There's an old fire pit with a bottle in it, so somebody has been up there at some point, but there are no fresh tracks in any direction, which tells them nobody has been through since the last snowfall.
And then this whole other way over here, there is no tracks at all where anybody's been up here since at least the last snowfall, so I think this is going to be our home for at least tonight.
Yeah.
And we can see what the hell it looks like tomorrow when we get up.
They put the shelter up with all four walls on and cook. Over dinner, they're joking about the crab they've got for tomorrow and what the smell is going to bring in.
Tonight was a quick set up camp, eat and go to bed. Tomorrow we're gonna eat like kings.
And then we're gonna have to probably fight off the coyotes tomorrow night.
From the crab.
Smell the crab fucking for miles away. Why we're not doing it tonight? We gotta be here tomorrow too.
The truck reads 35 degrees and both say it feels far colder. Around 11:30, with hand warmers already in the sleeping bags, two flat cracks come out of the dark.
Yeah, what was that, a gunshot? Gunshot or a vehicle? Vehicle. Or Bigfoot's fucking screaming.
They settle on gunfire, and it doesn't worry them. People shoot out there at night, and they've been talking about coyotes for an hour. Somebody is probably clearing animals off before bed.
It's 11:30. Someone must be going to bed. Shooting guns off before they go to bed or something.
Scare all the coyotes off.
Sounded like a 22 to me.
Kinda, yeah.
Cracky, snappy.
Or a handgun.
One of them considers firing back once, reasoning that it would let whoever is shooting know there are people in the hills. He decides against it, and the reason he gives is the four light.
Yeah, maybe. Just seemed too snappy. It's really close though. Like,
yeah, normally I would answer. But
yeah.
We're nice and peaceful here.
With those freaks earlier.
Yeah, I don't like those freaks, man.
It really sounds like.
So they stay quiet. That's already working in their favor because they bought that pop-up in black and spent part of the evening admiring how completely it disappears at night.
Unintended side effects of buying a black pop-up.
Fuck yeah, it's fucking cool.
Extremely stealthy.
Yup. The moon.
They assume whoever is shooting is in one place, somewhere below the hill. Then they hear an engine start.
They're right fucking there, dude.
I like driving around shooting.
Hooting and hollering and shit.
and the next shots move with it. The vehicle is traveling along the road underneath their campsite, while whoever is inside keeps firing into the hills. Their camp sits above that road, in a black shelter, with no lights on. From down there, nothing shows anybody is up there.
Hooting and hollering and shooting. It's teenagers hooting and hollering. Kill the lights. They might shoot at us. Kill it and get it low. For real. Where? And then he said, God dang, right there.
Yeah,
pointing towards
like
our
a
fire.
Yeah.
Like they saw our fire. The camera's still rolling.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fucking rednecks, dude.
We got some redneck hill.
Somebody in the vehicle notices it, and the shooting stops. The truck carries on down the road. The first thing they say once it's quiet isn't about themselves.
We needed to.
That's freaky, man. If someone was out here sleeping or whatever, man, it's 11:30 at night.
Yeah. Fucking assholes.
The cold finishes the trip on its own. They give up on the shelter at 2:30 and sleep in the truck. And by morning, the wind has dropped the pop-up across their own footprints.
Time to get up, crawl up to look at my tablet, see what time it is, and turn and look out the window, and off goes the pop-up. That flew all the way over to where our steps are out there.
Yeah, we didn't say that we ended up having to climb into the damn truck at fucking 3 o'clock.
The video sat at a few thousand views, and the channel went quiet not long after. 4 years later, a clip went round TikTok. One viewer who hunts that country read the whole evening as one event. Red lamps to spot animals, white lamps for the shooters, two camps that never knew about each other. Somebody else went back to the audio. Not the shooting, but what comes after, when the two of them are walking the road in the dark talking about how the camp will look in daylight.
One thing he always says, because he always rolls into camp after dark, is that it's really cool waking up in the morning and actually getting to see where you slept last night.
Yep.
Because it can be completely different than you thought it would look at night.
Oh, yeah.
They flagged a timestamp and said there's a third voice on the track. Neither man mentions hearing anybody, and by the time it was pointed out, the channel had been quiet for years. Rob Call Nature films solo trips around Finland, and this one starts on a screen. He's going through Google Earth when a point of interest comes up in a forest in the south, labeled as a Viking tomb, with one photograph attached.
There always pops up points of interest, and by pure luck, in the middle of the woods, suddenly popped up a point of interest, and it's read Viking tomb. So I clicked on it, and only one picture.
In March 2025, he drives to the nearest logging road to walk in and sleep beside it. He's still getting gear out of the car when a vehicle comes past. It slows right down when the driver sees him, carries on, and
Just
comes back
now,
around.
before I left the road into the woods, they made another round and took a picture of my license plate.
He talks himself through it on camera. A lot of that land is private, and a man unloading gear on an empty forest road is what a landowner would photograph. He decides they've taken him for a poacher.
Took a picture of my license plate. Maybe it was the landowner. Maybe they thought I was a poacher.
He loses his bearings before a lake puts him right. He follows the southern shore, filming what that part of Finland is full of.
Came. One of them saw me. They sprinted away towards the lake. The south shorelines of Finland. They're really...
The tomb is on the hill above the water, a pile of boulders carried up and stacked by hand. It was emptied out centuries ago, so there's nothing left to find.
Right. Well, no trophies for me. I wonder how many hundreds.
He slings a hammock underneath it, with an old wool blanket over the top as a roof. He ran the same setup a week earlier in the archipelago, and it worked fine at around freezing. Tonight, it's going down to 23.
So, I did this exact setup last week when I did some island hopping in the Finnish archipelago, and it worked really.
Inside the hammock, it reads 38. Then he finds he's brought the wrong threaded canister for his stove.
Thread canister for my gas burner. So we're eating cold sausage and drinking iced coffee tomorrow morning.
No stove means no hot food and no hot drink, so there's nothing left to put warmth back into himself. By 11, he's been lying there 4 hours with 4 hand warmers and hasn't gained a degree.
I'm all tucked in, and I've got hand warmers, 4 of them. I just can't seem to get warm, so I'm just laying here, shivering. I'm going to pull the plug on this one. Am I hypothermic? No, but...
He checks himself on camera, decides he isn't hypothermic, and calls the trip. He packs in the dark, and only once the bag is on his back does he mention something else.
Now that I'm all backed up and ready to go, I can tell you this much. I've had chills going up my spine all evening, and I also have that feeling I have to get out of here. It's almost midnight.
He doesn't build anything on it. He says it once and moves on to walking out of a forest at midnight, holding a line off the full moon.
I'm only using the moon as my compass, and I know that the road is towards the moon. Slowly but surely I make...
He finds the road, and then the car, sitting where he left it. Then he notices something on the other side of it.
Interested in my car? I knew there was something off. These are not my footprints. The left one is mine.
Hours earlier, Rob had talked himself into a landowner with a reasonable suspicion and put it away, standing at the car with Prince beside the passenger side. That encounter matters again. He parked it himself in daylight and never had reason to walk around that side.
That side was full of prints. Those were not my footprints. Someone was clearly very interested. Why was I there? Or why was my car?
He can't say when they were made. He'd been in the woods since the afternoon. His own reading is generous, that whoever made them was more worried about him than he was about them. More context came afterwards from locals, and Rob pinned it to the top of his own comments. That forest had been having a problem with deer poachers.
That's weird. Why would they do that? That really bothered me. Why would they take pictures?
So somebody had reason to watch that road after dark, and reason to photograph a car parked at the edge of it. Whether that's who walked around it, Rob has never been able to say. Bella Clark has never spent a night out in winter. Virginia rarely gives anyone the chance, but that year the snow comes twice in a week. She drives 3 hours out with her dog Brixie to a campsite marked on an off-road app by somebody she's never met.
Today I'm very, very excited because we got a lot of snow for Virginia's standards.
She knows the app isn't reliable and says so on the way in, that it's come good for her exactly once. She reaches the trailhead at 1:30 with under 3 hours of light. There's time for the hike or time to find the campsite, and she picks the campsite, so she isn't hunting for it after dark.
Trails, but it shows you where primitive campsites are too. And it's worked for me one time, and the other times not so much. It's kind of hard to find primitive campsites. If anybody has any...
That decision takes the day apart. The road the app sends her to isn't there.
Okay, so slight problem. The road for primitive camping just doesn't exist. So I'm gonna have to find something else.
So she goes looking along forest tracks she's never driven. The first thing in the way is an iced creek crossing. She can see the surface of the water and not the bottom, and drives through anyway.
Okay, it's like not deep at all, and it's rocky, so I think I'm literally fine. That was so easy. I don't know why I was tripping. I'm also seeing quite a few private property signs.
After that, there's another crossing, and another, each one something she'll have to redo on the way out. Private property signs, deep mud, a Confederate flag on a tree. Then one has a rock in it she can't see.
Oh my god. Well, that did not sound good, did it? There's a really big rock in the stream that I did not see. And I just rocked my shit. You okay down there?
Nothing is leaking, but that's the end of the camping. She turns around and scrapes back out over every crossing she came in on. By the time she's clear, it's 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, I might be stuck. Okay, I made it over. I scraped a lot. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, I mean...
She walks the trail anyway rather than drive home with nothing. 26 degrees, wind chill of 17, and the top is an iced scramble, so she carries the dog through the parts where a slip would matter.
I might need to carry you. Okay. I think I'm gonna need to carry her. You're not gonna like this. Yeah.
She drops her gloves in the snow, and by the summit her hands won't work the camera buttons. She mentions in passing that her mouth has gone stiff enough that she's slurring.
Around people, so I did get some shots up there, but I just didn't really want to talk. So, and I also dropped my gloves in the snow, and my hands got so cold that I just couldn't press any buttons. And also my mouth is so cold that I feel like I'm slurring my words a little bit, so I apologize if I am. So pretty. We've reached one of the spots where
The light goes on the way down and she finishes on a headlamp. 5 miles in total. She drives home and eats the meal she'd packed for the campsite. Robert and the friend running the camera film is exploring the unknown. Their stated aim, which one of them says out loud that night, is to show people there's an afterlife. It's around 12 degrees, and they start in Robert's side yard, where there's a gravestone.
Okay, the shit that we do for you guys, it is currently it's like 12 or 13 out, and it feels like 10, maybe even 8, but I'm back with your boy. It's your boy Robert, ladies and gentlemen.
Their last outing had equipment fail on camera, and it didn't go down well, so this time they filmed the proof first. Every light works and every battery reads full, apart from one GoPro cell they flagged beforehand.
In the basement, we did check and we made sure that all the lights that we're using today are working.
Like literally, guys, every single battery that we have is at 100% except for one GoPro battery, and this battery, I don't know if you guys can see it, is at 100%. So
100%.
They're using the temperature readout on the spirit box as a yes and no channel, asking it to drop the number if it wants them to stop. It goes erratic, then powers itself off.
what?
Hello.
It just turned off. What?
Ask if it wants to turn it back on.
He raises the obvious explanation himself. He's had that box 8 months, the battery is new, and he's used it in the cold before. Cold does make batteries unpredictable, so a unit shutting itself down isn't necessarily evidence.
With it whatsoever. The battery is brand fucking new. I have used it in the cold before. And it's worked completely fine. So typically when a spirit doesn't want to communicate, it would either just straight up tell you, or it would just have the power.
They read it the other way and put the box away rather than push it. That's the pattern of the night, and it runs both ways. Earlier they'd found a light on behind a door they were sure they'd shut.
The door's closed. Then how the fuck is it on? Unless, did we go in there earlier for any computer parts?
They work that one out themselves. There's a new house going up nearby. A glow in the trees they watch for a while turns out to be somebody's television. Neither is presented as evidence.
I think that thing that we were seeing was a TV over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Spirit, are you still here?
With the box away, they take the K2 meter into the tree line. There's snow on the ground. Robert stops at something.
Yo, Robert.
Oh.
5 seconds after he says the word footprints, the audio picks up a short mechanical sound, like equipment switching on. Everything they're carrying is already running. Neither of them reacts, because neither hears it. It turns up afterwards in the edit, and he asks viewers what they make of it.
Noise. Now the weird thing is, all of the gear that we are using is already powered up, and this noise sounds like it is something being powered up or powered on. But even if I were to turn on a piece of my equipment, it doesn't make that noise. And as you guys can see, the K2 is...
The meter keeps spiking as they walk, and they keep flagging it. Then a ticking starts in the trees. Steady. That one they put down to trees.
Do you hear that? It's like a ticking. It's not this. It's not the K2.
Yeah. It could be trees.
A short way on there are more prints, and these ones are fresh.
Well, these are fresh.
Huh?
Those are fresh.
The biggest scare of the night solves itself the same way. One of them locks onto a pair of eyes at the edge of the trail and gets a few seconds before the animal moves. They turn for the truck, and the meter goes off one more time, in the second after one of them says out loud that something is following him.
Here, let me hold it again. It started going as soon as I said something's following me.
Are you serious?
Yeah. You know I don't fuck around when it comes to that stuff, you know?
That is true.
By the end of the night, they'd explained the light behind the door, the glow in the trees, and the eyes on the trail. Two things remain unexplained: the sound neither of them heard, and the boot prints left by somebody who was out in those woods at 12 degrees and never came into shot. Mighty Mouse takes his puppy Belle out for her first night in the woods. There are people camped near the road, so he carries a heavy pack down into a valley to get away from them, which means the climb out is the hard part.
Maybe a little bit, but really just set up camp and get things going. There's actually a lot of people here, so we're getting to work on our coming and going a little bit. But see you guys back at camp and check the water.
The spring he'd planned to take water from isn't running, so he's rationing what he carried in. The wood is wet and his hands are numb by the time the fire takes.
And we are unfortunately rationing water. I had really hoped for...
At around 5:30, with the light going, he stops talking to the camera.
Definitely hear some animals, like coyotes or something. I'm not sure what that's about. But it's 5:36.
He puts them a fair distance off at first. Coyote calls are hard to place in cold air, and over the evening he revises that distance downward more than once.
Those coyotes really seemed like they were right there by.
He says that while seasoning burgers over an open fire, which gives anything nearby one more reason to come and look, and with a young dog beside him, he has reason to pay attention.
I feel like it's safe to say they're pretty close.
Belle's behavior changes before his does. She stops eating, sits against his leg, and stays there.
She's doing pretty good. Yeah, she feels good. She definitely seems a little tired and kind of scared, maybe. I don't know. Is your nail okay? I hope she didn't hurt it.
He gets his bed built with her tucked in beside him and lets the fire go down. Some of the food in his bag is still frozen solid. Nothing comes into the camp.
Oh, I can still block of ice. It's pretty cold in there. Some food stuff. Hey, Bill. Are you okay in here?
By morning, the fire is coals. He skips breakfast because it's too cold to bother and walks out with a puppy too worn out to go in front of him.
Get a little shot of camp cleaned up. I think someone is wore out. Oh, poor.
One thing worth noting, in the footage he calls them coyotes and says it was a little spooky. The title he uploaded the video under calls them wolves. Since none are ever seen, there's no way to know what was circling that valley. It's the start of January in the Mourne Mountains in Northern Ireland. Scott, who films as the rock and roll rambler, opens by laying out the difference between summer and winter camping. In summer, you can forget something and get away with it. In winter, you can't.
In the summer, if you forget something, it can be uncomfortable. But in the winter, it can be absolutely crucial. And it could make or break your camp. Today, I'm out with Big John. It's the start of January. And we're planning to camp up the top of Mealmore.
He's going up Sleeve Mealmore with Big John to camp on the summit. The forecast for that night is 50-mile-an-hour winds, and they climb knowing it.
Cold, but nice and bright, dry and sunny. But tonight, we're expected to get 50-mile-an-hour winds, which isn't great. But we're going to have a nice meal, some hot cider, and hopefully we'll survive the night. So come and join us.
The ground on top is frozen solid, which makes the pegs difficult. They weigh each one down with rocks, run the guy lines out, and pitch both tents tight against the Mourne wall.
This is where we plan to camp for the night. I'm going to try and put the tents up here. The ground is rock solid, so could have issues getting pegs in. And with the winds tonight to be so high, we really want to make sure the tent's secured. We're going to need all the help.
The wall has stood there since 1921, and 3 stone huts stand along it, built to shelter the men who laid it. They spend the evening in the one on Mealmore with fire logs going, while walkers heading down tell them they're mad.
So, just like the men who built the Mourne wall, it could provide us with some much needed shelter tonight from the elements.
There's coffee, a hot meal, and a long conversation about layers and sleeping pads.
Get away with it, but in the winter you just can't do that. Everything you pack has a reason. Every layer has a job. That's what preparation is key to that. I mean, today I am wearing, so I've got like a merino.
By 10, the weather has come in and they go back to the tents. They discuss going down and decide against it, and the reasoning is sound. Coming off a mountain in the dark on snow and ice is more dangerous than sitting out a night in a tent that holds.
Get in the sleeping bag, try and get some sleep, but it is not looking likely. But we really do not want to bail because we believe that probably more dangerous to try and pack up now and head down in the snow and ice and in the darkness.
Scott is barely inside his sleeping bag when the tent comes down on top of him. On frozen ground, the obvious answer is a peg, the thing they spent an hour guarding against, so he dresses again and goes out to reset it.
Oh, the tent's in on top of me. Something's come out. Ah! Let me. So, as you can see, the pole snapped in my tent. It's only 10 p.m. like.
The tent is a tunnel design built to take wind on the back and let it run over the top, and that's how he'd pitched it, with the wall covering 3 sides. It held 50-mile-an-hour gusts twice before.
And I think the winds are only to get worse. The tent is completely flattened on top of me. Just don't know what we're going to do here. Can't see us.
2 things went against him. The wind changed direction, which he says they couldn't have planned for, and the poles had gone in stiff that afternoon, and he'd wondered then whether the cold had made them
When I
brittle.
was setting up the tent, I just got a feeling when the poles were very difficult to put in, and I wondered, was it anything to do with the cold? Because were they a wee bit brittle? And that's why this time the strong winds broke them. Don't know, probably never know.
That leaves him a few minutes to decide. It's 10 at night, the worst of the wind is still ahead, and he's soaked through and shivering. He considers getting into John's tent and rules it out. In his mind, another nylon shelter isn't going to get him dry or warm again.
Everyone's safety, it's unbelievable here. Just cannot stay in that tent. I'm freezing, soaked. We need to get out of here, get off this mountain. Oh.
The other half is timing. They try to fix the pole and don't trust the repair, and if it goes, or John's tent goes, they'll be making the same descent at 4 in the morning with less left in them.
But we felt, just at this point in time, that it was the best thing to do. We weren't sure. We could have stayed another while, and our attempts to fix my pole could have gave way, or something worse could have happened.
He has spare batteries and chooses not to film what follows, so the rest is an account he recorded at home.
Not just in the mountains, but life in general. Now there's no footage of what happened, but 2 reasons for that are that my battery had died and the cold was really affecting my battery life. I did have a spare battery.
Coming off the summit, they keep a hand on the wall. It's taking the wind, and it means they can't get lost. Then they climb the stile at the bottom and step out onto a path with nothing to hold.
Despite the rain and the wind, I had the mown wall to my left-hand side, and the wind was coming from this side, and although it was battering us, I felt a bit of safety in that wall, and that I couldn't go anywhere.
A headlamp reaches about 15 feet into driving rain. They lose the path almost straight away. John's headlamp runs down and Scott hands him the spare.
We had head torches, but they can only show you 5 meters in front of you, which at that time, yes, was great, but...
The gusts start taking them off their feet. John is 6'2" and close to 16 stone, and it lifts him as easily as it lifts Scott, who counts 10 to 12 times he goes down. One sends Scott 10 feet down a bank in the dark.
Nearly 16 stone man, and it was taking him off his feet. It must have took me off my feet 10 to 12 times. Literally just blowing you over. And the worst one was where it sort of blew me.
After that, they stop trying to stand. They come down the mountain on their hands and knees through mud and running water, and Scott can hear each gust arriving before it hits.
And you sort of got yourself down into a squat position. Big John just kept shouting, "Get low, get low, get down, get down," every time a gust would come. But we soon found our way to the main track.
They talk about calling mountain rescue. John argues for finding the path first, and it turns up about 5 minutes later, then the main track down from Hare's Gap. Scott thinks that's the end of it.
It was just a nightmare, a living nightmare. And we considered calling mountain rescue, but John was very positive about the whole thing, and he said no. All we need to do.
He's forgotten the rivers. 3 rivers cross that track, and all 3 are running high. They walk up and down looking for somewhere shallow, find nowhere, and go through all 3 at knee depth.
There was only one way through that. and we were up to our knees walking through the rivers, and thankfully none of us got hurt. And I don't mind admitting, like, I'm a grown man, but
His legs are finished by the time the stile above Mealmore Lodge comes into view. He almost didn't post any of it because he knew how it would
it's not
read.
as if we went chasing the storm. And the truth of the matter is, one bit of kit let us down, the tent pole. And when you think about all the other bits of kit that we had, they probably saved our lives that night. The head torches.
The comments split about where he expected. One camper told him the gear and the experience weren't up to that night. Another couldn't understand why he hadn't walked back to the stone hut. Scott never answers that one. The people who camped those hills came the other way. One had been out in the morns the same night and stayed low. One had a pole crack and now carries spares. And Big John left a comment of his own. He called it a lesson learned, said he was glad nobody got hurt, and said they'd be back in the morns in a few weeks.